Well, the Seahawks have done it again. They have signed wide receiver Cooper Kupp to a 3-year, $45 million contract, $15 million a year. They've officially found their replacement for DK Metcalf. We're going to get into that and a whole lot more right here on Seahawks Now, brought to you, of course, by Fan Arch. So if you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you comment down below if you don't want to miss another video. With that all being said, you guys, this is pretty big news, I would say. Obviously, bringing in Cooper Kupp, not something that I really expected the Seahawks were going to do. I thought that they were maybe going to draft someone, but honestly, when I heard they were moving off of Tyler Lockett, they were moving off of DK Metcalf, my reaction was, oh, well, I guess they're probably not going to be bringing in another wide receiver. I guess I thought maybe they were trying to rebuild, but no, over the weekend, they did it again. Over the weekend, late Friday afternoon, it was revealed that the Seahawks were emerging as a contender to sign Cooper Kupp, and then on Friday evening, it was reported that he was indeed signing with Seattle. So now the Seahawks have added, let's remember this, they've also added Sam Darnold, they added DeMarcus Lawrence to the defensive line, and now they added Cooper Kupp. Those are three massive adds. I mean, those are three huge adds. And thinking about the long-term impact, this could be really big. As far as the trajectory of this team, they're going to stay nationally relevant. They might actually be more nationally relevant after these moves. I think that Cooper Kupp is certainly an upgrade over Tyler Lockett as a slot receiver. I don't think he's an upgrade over DK Metcalf. Obviously, losing DK Metcalf still hurts, but when Cooper is healthy, and that's a key with him, is health. But if he can stay healthy, I still think that he can be a really good, really talented player. Right? Because Cooper Kupp, even if you look at last year, he played 12 games, went for about 700 yards. 12 games, if he played 5 more, he would have been close to 1,000. If you look at 2023, however, he played in 9 games and went for 800 yards. So again, that's a really good season if he plays the full year. His numbers have been down ever since the Rams drafted Puka Nacua. Again, that makes sense, right? Because Puka has played a big role in that offense since he got there. But for a while there, Cooper Kupp was Matthew Stafford's favorite target. And I think it was pretty clear. I mean, it showed, right? It showed. He loved him. And I think Sam Darnold is going to really thrive with a couple of really good receivers in Jackson Smith and Jigba and in Cooper Kupp. Now, Kupp's not going to have a 1,500-yard season. He may not even have another 1,000-yard season. But he's not expected to be the wide receiver 1. He's expected to be a veteran wide receiver 2 who can just be a presence on the field. I love also, he's from Washington. He was born and raised in Yakima, Washington, so he's a local guy. He went to college at Eastern Washington University where he played for 4 years. So he has local ties, local connections. I was kind of surprised at first because he was a rival. He played for the Rams for 8 years. But that's just the nature of the business. Now he's going to get to go play for his hometown team. He probably rooted for the Seahawks as a kid. And so it's going to be fun to get to see him play in a Seattle uniform. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this, actually. I think Cooper Kupp, I don't know how much he really changes as far as next year goes, but I think he certainly helps. Because we talked about it, right? Darnold, his best season, he had Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson. 3 great weapons. And then Seattle, he's going to need to have probably 3 great weapons. And now he has 2 at least with JSN and Cooper. So at least he has a couple of really good, really solid weapons that he can throw the ball to. Now let's talk a little bit about kind of the wider implications of this move. All these recent moves the Seahawks have been making are indicating a shift to a wide zone offense in 2025. If you know anything about offenses, wide zone offense is also kind of known as the West Coast offense. This is the offense that Gary Kubiak, father of current Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, This is the offense that Gary Kubiak perfected. He perfected this offense. In particularly, he kind of perfected it working with some of the really just kind of elite coaches of the 80s and 90s. Guys such as Kyle Shanahan's father, as well, worked on that offense. Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan obviously ended up in Washington, Gary Kubiak in Denver, but they used to actually coach together before they were both head coaches. When they were coordinators is when they actually developed this offense, which was also in Denver. And then Mike Shanahan obviously has his incredible coaching tree that goes down to his son Kyle, goes down to Sean McVay, goes down to Kevin O'Connell, who was up in Minnesota with Sam Darnold last year. It goes down to Zach Taylor in Cincinnati. There's a lot of guys who follow that Sean McVay tree, and Sean McVay comes from the Mike Shanahan tree, who worked with Gary Kubiak. So now Clint Kubiak's going to try out his own version of this offense. Now the reason why I can tell they're shifting to that wide zone is because they now have 2 slot receivers, right? 2 slot receivers is not, a lot of fans I'm seeing are complaining that we don't need Cooper Kupp. We don't need 2 slot receivers because JSN is an elite slot receiver, and Cooper Kupp, you could say, was an elite slot receiver. I don't know if I'd still use the term elite. He's still really good. He's a good slot. We have 2 good slot receivers. And people are saying we don't need 2 good slot receivers. But that is kind of how this West Coast style wide zone offense works. You get 2 receivers who are really good at the same thing, and then a great running back. And that's what the Rams have been doing, right? They had Nakua and Kupp. 2 good receivers, both kind of similar in what they did. They weren't pushing the ball with a deep ball. They weren't pushing it with the deep routes, right? The Rams were not a over-the-top deep ball team. They were when they were good, when they were winning Super Bowls and making it deep in the playoffs, which they still were last year, their strategy was always run the ball and move the ball methodically down the field. Very similar to the 49ers system, right? Not necessarily slot receivers, but they had 2 fast receivers in Ayuk and Debo, 2 receivers who were good at the same thing, and a great running back. And again, they weren't an over-the-top team. They push the ball downfield methodically, and they wear out the opposition. And that's what the Seahawks want to do. You can tell there's a clear strategy here. They're going to pound the ball on the run, right? They're going to just run it. With Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, they have 2 good running backs. They can afford to do that. They can run the ball, and they're going to methodically hit these 2 elite slot receivers as they're going to kind of dink and dunk. And I think that's what the strategy is with Sam Darnold. And then you do have MVS as your over-the-top threat. MVS is like your home run hitter, and he might catch 1 or 2 really big, deep passes a game. And that's going to be huge. But for the most part, this is not an offense that's going to be, Sam Darnold's not going to be throwing deep balls. This is not going to be a Russell Wilson moonball style offense. This is going to be a methodical, well thought out, Rams, 49ers, similar vibes offense. And I guess if you can't beat them, copy them, right? If you can't beat them, join them. Because the Rams and 49ers have been doing this so well with Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. And the Seahawks are kind of doing their own spin on it where, yeah, they're going to try similar style offense, but also they're going to try to have as elite of a defense as possible with guys like DeMarcus Lawrence being added to that defense already. Now, the last thing, though, the Seahawks are doing is they're looking to add to their O-line. Today, they brought in Tevin Jenkins for a visit. Tevin Jenkins, former Bears offensive lineman, a former first-round pick in Chicago, I believe. And Tevin Jenkins has a lot to prove. This is a guy who I still think he can be elite. I think when he's healthy, he is a clear top 10 guard in the league. However, he has struggled with health. He has really struggled with health. He only started 2 games in his rookie season after being drafted, not first round, second round. He was the 39th overall pick. So he was he just barely missed out on being a first rounder. He only started 2 games in his rookie season. Then he started 11 in 2022, 11 in 2023, and then 14 last year, which was the most in his career. So he has missed, let's see, what is that? He's missed 15 starts over the past 3 years. He's averaging 5 missed starts per season, which is pretty substantial. But when he's healthy, he's good. He's got an approximate value score of 5 in each of the past 3 years. Approximate value, that's kind of the way that offensive linemen are rated. 10 is considered great. 5 is considered average to above average. And to get a score of 5 playing only 11 games, that's pretty good because it's a score that builds as you play more games. So I think Tevin Jenkins could be a great addition. We need a left guard really badly. We obviously are not going to bring back Laken Tomlinson. He was no good last year anyways. I think Tevin Jenkins, right now he's being projected for a $31 million contract. I would give that out to a 3-year, $31 million. I would give that out to him easily. You end up giving him about $10 million a season. We can afford to do that still, even with Kupp and Lawrence and Darnold. We still have cap space, which is that's what happens when you trade DK and release Tyler and trade Geno, is you get a lot of cap space. So I'm excited. I really hope that this deal comes into place. I think this could really help protect Sam Darnold and keep that offensive line functioning. With that all being said, guys, that's going to wrap things up for today's video. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below. Let us know, guys, what do you think about all of these moves? Are you excited to see Cooper Kupp in this offense? If not, let us know why you're not excited. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, guys. As always, I've been Levi, and this is another episode of Seahawks Now. Until next time, go Seahawks.